Welcome to NT Coins World, the channel where we explore the fascinating world of numismatics, focusing on rare and valuable coins that collectors and enthusiasts cherish. Today we're diving into two incredibly valuable and historically significant Kennedy half dollars, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar in fine condition and the 1988 D Kennedy half dollar, also in fine condition. These coins are not just pieces of American currency, they are pieces of history, and their market values can truly surprise you. Let's start by discussing the 1974 Kennedy half dollar coin in fine condition. The Kennedy half dollar, first minted in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination in 1963, was meant to serve as a symbol of the nation's respect for the late president. The Kennedy half dollar, over the years, has undergone several changes in design, composition, and mintage strategy. While many consider the coin's value to be modest, there are certain years, including the 1974 edition, that have garnered attention in the numismatic world for their rare varieties, condition, and historical significance. In 1974, the Kennedy half dollar was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. The Philadelphia Mint in particular produced coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint's coins carried a D mint mark. As we focus on the 1974 Kennedy half dollar in fine condition, it's important to understand what that grade means. In coin grading, fine refers to a coin that shows moderate wear, with most of the design details still visible, but the finer details softened. The 1974 half dollar in fine condition typically has readable inscriptions, but the face of President Kennedy may show some wear and softness, particularly around the high points of the design. In terms of mintage, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar saw a total production of around 70 million coins between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. However, this mintage number alone doesn't tell the full story. The market for these coins depends heavily on condition, and finding a 1974 Kennedy half dollar in fine condition, especially without significant damage or corrosion, is relatively rare. Many of these coins have been in circulation for decades, and those that survive in a higher grade like fine condition are few and far between. Value is a crucial aspect to discuss, and it's not all about the base metal value of the coin. While the 1974 Kennedy half dollar in fine condition is not one of the most valuable pieces from the series, it still holds its ground. Depending on the exact state of preservation, this coin can command anywhere between $7 to $15 on the open market. But keep in mind that high-grade examples of this coin, particularly those with minimal wear and noticeable luster, can fetch even higher prices. So if you have one of these in your collection, make sure to carefully check its details, because condition is king when it comes to determining value. One important thing to note when looking at the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is the presence of die errors. Die errors are a key factor that can elevate a coin's value dramatically. For example, a 1974 coin with a double die obverse error, where the lettering or the design is doubled, could significantly increase its value. These errors are rare, but they do exist, and if you are lucky enough to find one, you could potentially see the value of your coin skyrocket to $100 to $300 or more, depending on the severity of the error and the demand in the market. Next, let's move on to the 1988 D Kennedy half dollar in fine condition. By the time the 1988 D Kennedy half dollar was minted, the coin had settled into a more familiar role in the American numismatic scene. The Kennedy half dollar was minted in large quantities, mainly for collectors and for use in coin sets, as it had largely fallen out of circulation as a regular part of everyday currency. While the 1988 D half dollar isn't quite as famous as some of its counterparts from earlier years, it still carries significant value, particularly in higher grade conditions. The 1988 D Kennedy half dollar was produced at the Denver Mint, which is denoted by the D mint mark on the coin. This particular year saw the continuation of the clad composition that was introduced in 1971. Unlike earlier versions of the Kennedy half dollar, which were made of 90% silver, the 1988 D is made of an alloy composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a copper core sandwiched between two layers of pure nickel. This composition change was designed to reduce the cost of minting the coins, and it would remain the standard until the early 2000s. For the 1988 D Kennedy half dollar in fine condition, the coin is expected to show moderate wear, similar to the 1974 coin. However, in terms of mintage, the 1988 D Kennedy half dollar has a rather impressive number of coins that were produced. Over 28 million were minted, making it one of the more common coins in the series. The coin's obverse, featuring a portrait of President Kennedy by Gilroy Roberts, remains relatively distinct, though some wear is visible. The reverse design, which showcases the presidential seal, also remains legible but may show some flattening in the more worn areas. The market value of the 1988 D Kennedy half dollar in fine condition is typically modest, usually hovering around the $7 to $12 range, similar to the 1974 version. The 1988 D half dollar's value is also impacted by its condition and rarity. Coins that are free from damage with sharp features could command a slightly higher price. But as with most coins in this series, it is the rarity and condition that play a crucial role in determining the final price. What's interesting about the 1988 D Kennedy half dollar is that although it was produced in such large numbers, it is still a coin that can attract the attention of collectors, especially when paired with certain die errors or varieties. For instance, if you happen to have a 1988 D Kennedy half dollar with a notable die crack or other striking anomalies, this could push the coin's value into a much higher bracket. Coins with noticeable proof-like finishes or deep cameo appearances, a sharp contrast between the frosted design and the mirrored background, can also see a bump in value reaching upwards of $30 or more, depending on the collector demand at the time. While this specific coin doesn't carry the same weight in the market as a rare variety like the 1974 double die or an early silver version, there are certain conditions under which its value can dramatically increase. Collector interest, especially in uncirculated or proof-like specimens, can result in an auction price that outpaces the typical price range. So while the standard 1988 D Kennedy half dollar might not break the bank, the coin's potential for a high-value sale certainly exists if it has some additional characteristics or errors that set it apart from the rest. In conclusion, both the 1974 Kennedy half dollar in fine condition and the 1988 D Kennedy half dollar in fine condition are fascinating pieces of American coinage, each with its own historical significance and unique value in the world of coin collecting. While they may not be the rarest or most expensive coins in the Kennedy series, they certainly hold an important place in the market. A keen eye for detail and an understanding of their mintages, varieties, and condition can help collectors determine their true worth and potentially score a substantial profit if they happen upon a rare die error or high-quality example. Whether you're just starting your coin collection or you're a seasoned numismatist, always be sure to keep an eye out for those subtle differences. Sometimes it's the smallest flaw or error that turns a regular coin into a valuable treasure. So if you happen to have these coins in your collection, remember to inspect them closely, and maybe, just maybe, you're holding on to a piece of American history that could one day be worth far more than you ever imagined. That's all for today's deep dive into the Kennedy half-dollar coins. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more exciting coin discussions, and leave a comment below to let us know what coins you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep collecting.